Reacher needs to address its main character's biggest flaw in Season 3. As the wait for Season 3 continues, it's a good time to go back and rewatch the first 2 seasons of Reacher. Alan Ritchson delivers a terrific, layered performance as the eponymous Jack Reacher throughout the first 2 seasons. Reacher is a one-man army and a righteous wrecking machine of justice. He is a master marksman, formidable in hand-to-hand combat, and has an intellect that rivals fictional detectives such as Sherlock Holmes and Batman. However, for all of Reacher's exceptional skills, the first 2 seasons establish an interesting flaw for the character. Reacher lives a lonely, solitary life, jettisoning anything he deems unnecessary, including friendship and romantic relationships. This is one of the more interesting aspects of Reacher that is subtly touched upon in the first 2 seasons and warrants further exploration in the upcoming 3rd season. Reacher's lifestyle doesn't leave room for personal attachments. During his days in the Army, Reacher led his own unit in the military police, the 110th Special Investigations Unit. Reacher formed a close-knit group, creating familial attachments with his investigators. But once the group was disbanded and Reacher left the Army, he took his military pension and moved on with his life. Season 1 picks up after Reacher has left the Army and on a whim travels to Margrave, Georgia, and discovers a counterfeit ring that led to his brother's murder. After receiving an honorable discharge, Reacher adopts a drifter lifestyle with no job, wife, kids, home, driver's license, or debts. Reacher prefers a simple life without putting down roots, so he does not form many meaningful personal attachments. In the 6th episode of the first season, Papier, Detective Oscar Finley, Malcolm Goodwin, astutely points out that it is not healthy for Reacher to let go of the people closest to him. Although Reacher quickly dismisses Finley's observation, Finley makes a great point. Before the incident in Margrave, Reacher had not even spoken with his brother for years. They were not exactly estranged and did not have a falling out. Reacher is simply an independent guy, and while he was close to his brother Joe, Christopher Russell, when they were younger, they grew apart after the death of their mother. Unfortunately, Reacher never spoke to his brother again. If he had not wandered into Margrave, he probably wouldn't have found out about Joe's murder for years. This thread continues into Season 2. Reacher is called into action after his former officer, Francis Neagley, Maria Sten, reveals that another member of their unit, Calvin Franz, Luke Billick, was mysteriously killed. Upon reuniting with Neagley in the Season 2 premiere, ADM, Reacher is surprised to learn that Franz was married and had a child. Additionally, another member of their unit, Stanley Lowry, Dean McKenzie, died in a car accident 2 years earlier. Since Reacher fell out of touch and didn't maintain his relationships, he was unaware that people he had considered his close friends had experienced major life events. Neagley and the other 110th members went to Franz's wedding and Lowry's funeral, but Reacher was not present. It's rather sad that Reacher learns about these deeply personal or tragic events after the fact. Vagabond life or not, it doesn't take much to pick up the phone and check on one's friends to see how they're doing. Reacher routinely has access to prepaid cell phones, and nothing is stopping him from maintaining contact with the people he considers his friends and loved ones. The Reacher TV series, based on Lee Child's immensely popular Jack Reacher novels, has captured the imagination of audiences with its high-octane action, suspenseful plot lines, and the towering presence of its titular hero. Jack Reacher, portrayed by Alan Ritchson, is a larger-than-life character, a nomadic ex-military policeman with a strict moral code, unparalleled physical prowess, and a sharp intellect. However, as the series gears up for its 3rd season, it becomes clear that for all of his strengths, Reacher's biggest flaw remains his emotional detachment. And this is a trait that the show must confront and evolve if it is to keep audiences invested in the character's long-term development. The strengths of Jack Reacher. Physical and intellectual superiority. Jack Reacher's strength as a character lies in his almost superhuman abilities. His extensive military background, sharp instincts, and formidable hand-to-hand combat skills make him a force to be reckoned with. He is a quintessential action hero, tough, rugged, and always ready for a fight. His imposing size, often described as close to 6.5 feet tall in the novels, adds to the sense that Reacher is an unstoppable force of nature. Moreover, Reacher's intelligence and methodical approach to solving problems set him apart from the average action hero. He's not just a blunt instrument, he's a strategist, a detective who can piece together clues and solve complex mysteries. This duality, his raw power coupled with his razor-sharp mind, has made him an engaging and dynamic character. The first 2 seasons of Reacher showcase this combination brilliantly, with Reacher dismantling criminal networks and outsmarting adversaries at every turn. Reacher's emotional detachment. A double-edged sword, however, Reacher's greatest flaw is also what sets him apart from more emotionally vulnerable heroes, his emotional detachment. Reacher, as portrayed in the novels and the series, is a loner by choice. He drifts from town to town with no attachments, no permanent home, and no close relationships. This emotional distance allows him to remain cool under pressure and maintain his razor-sharp focus in dangerous situations, but it also renders him somewhat inaccessible as a character. In many ways, Reacher's emotional stoicism fits the archetype of the classic lone wolf hero, but as the series progresses, this emotional distance threatens to make him seem one-dimensional. Season 2 began to hint at the challenges of Reacher's isolation, particularly in his interactions with those around him, but it didn't fully dive into how this detachment affects him on a deeper psychological level. Season 3 offers a prime opportunity for the show to address this flaw. While Reacher's emotional stoicism is part of his charm, viewers need to see more vulnerability, more internal conflict that shows how his isolation impacts him beyond his day-to-day operations as a crime fighter. Audiences are drawn to heroes who evolve, who face their inner demons and come out stronger on the other side. Without this development, Reacher runs the risk of becoming static and unchanging, unfeeling action figure rather than a multidimensional character capable of growth. The need for emotional depth in Season 3 for Reacher to remain compelling in the long run. The show must explore the emotional cost of Reacher's lifestyle. His lack of meaningful relationships, his inability to stay in one place, and his refusal to let anyone in could be mined for greater narrative depth. What toll does his self-imposed isolation take on him? How does he deal with loneliness, with the burden of always being on the move? Introducing more emotional conflict in Season 3 would not only add layers to Reacher's character, but also create richer storytelling opportunities. For instance, the series could explore Reacher's backstory in more detail, delving into the events that shaped his reluctance to form personal connections. Perhaps there are unresolved traumas from his military days or past relationships that explain his decision to remain emotionally distant. Showing Reacher's struggle with these issues could make him more relatable to viewers, adding a human dimension to his otherwise invincible persona. Additionally, relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or familial, could serve as a catalyst for Reacher's emotional growth. Season 2 teased some of this potential in Reacher's interactions with his allies, but these connections were often fleeting or superficial. A more sustained exploration of Reacher's ability to care for others, to invest in relationships despite his lone wolf tendencies, could be a powerful arc for Season 3. The risk of keeping Reacher stagnant if the series fails to address Reacher's emotional detachment, there is a risk that the character will become repetitive and predictable. While the action sequences and thrilling plot lines are undoubtedly entertaining, audiences crave character evolution. They want to see their heroes change, face challenges that go beyond physical threats. By keeping Reacher emotionally stagnant,